I got a call from an unknown number. It was my son, whispering, "Dad, help me." I asked where he was. My ex drove me to the foothills. She took my phone and water. She said I'm not her real kid and left me here. I found an old man's phone. He sent the location, so I went to get my son, and my life split in two. I almost let it go to voicemail. It was a number I didn't recognize, out of state. I had just gotten home from work, dead tired, keys still in hand, when it lit up my screen. Something in my gut stopped me from ignoring it. I swiped to answer. "Hello." It was quiet for a second. Then I heard breathing, shaky, shallow. My stomach dropped. "Dad." I froze. "Eli." "Yeah." His voice was small, raw, like his throat hurt to talk. I need help." I sat down hard on the arm of the couch. "What's going on? Where are you? Are you hurt?" The line crackled. "I don't know where. She left me." "Mom left." What do you mean she left you?" My voice shot up before I could stop it. I woke up and the car was gone. She said I wasn't really her kid. Then she left. I couldn't breathe for a second. It felt like someone hit me in the chest with a hammer. "What?" "Eli, listen to me. Are you safe right now?" "I don't know. There's no houses." I walked a long time. Found this phone by a fence. "I sent you the pin before I called. Did it send?" I jumped up and ran to my laptop. Hold on. Don't hang up. Stay on the line." I logged into my email. Sure enough, there it was. One message from a random Gmail with a GPS location link. "Deep foothills. Middle of nowhere. I'm coming. Right now? Just stay there, all right? Don't go anywhere." "Okay." His voice cracked. Then the call dropped. I called back. Nothing. Straight to voicemail. I grabbed my keys, phone, charger, water bottles, whatever I could throw in the front seat. Slammed the truck door so hard the window rattled. The second I hit the highway, I floored it. The sun was already going down. I couldn't think straight. Every time my hands clenched the wheel, I pictured my son alone in the dark, scared out of his mind. Quick note, before we go on, share which city or country you're watching from. My ex always had a flair for drama, but this wasn't drama. This was sick. She'd taken him for a weekend getaway, hadn't even told me where. Court said she got summers. I didn't think twice. Thought she just wanted some time. But this? Dumping him in the woods? I pressed the gas harder. He was out there, and I was going to find him. The GPS took me off the highway and straight into the back roads. Then past those, dirt turned to gravel, gravel turned to packed clay, and the signal on my phone blinked out completely. No street signs, no lights, just trees and dust, and the kind of silence that makes your ears ring. I followed the dot on the map like my life depended on it. For Eli it did. The trail curved around some old construction fencing, half collapsed and covered in vines. I rolled past a rusted cat excavator and a pile of busted concrete pipes. My headlights swept over something in the distance. Just a flash of color. Blue. I slammed the brakes. I jumped out and ran. My boots kicked up dry dirt. The second time my eyes caught the shape, I knew it was him. He was crouched inside one of those concrete pipes. The end caved in like it had been dropped too hard. He looked up when he heard me, face sunburned bright red, lips split and white around the edges. "Eli." I dropped to my knees and crawled inside. He blinked at me like he didn't believe I was real. Then he just crumbled, sagged forward into my arms. "I got you," I said, scooping him up. "You're okay. I got you now." His body was hot, not fever hot, oven hot. His skin was dry, dusty, and his breath came out in short little gasps. I carried him to the truck, pulled the back seat down, and laid him flat with my jacket under his head. I gave him water slowly, a sip at a time. He winced with the first swallow. I could see it hurt, but he kept drinking. "You're okay," I told him again. "Just breathe, all right? You're gonna be okay." He didn't answer, but he nodded. Barely. I drove fast but careful, watching him through the mirror every 30 seconds. Nearest hospital was almost an hour away. By the time we got there, he was barely awake. They took him in immediately. 2 nurses, 1 doctor, for fluids, blood pressure cuff. They worked fast. I stood in the corner, hands balled into fists, watching them move around my son like he might disappear again. "Dehydration and heat exposure," the doctor finally said, glancing at the chart. "He's lucky. Another day out there, and this could have been worse." I nodded, jaw locked so tight it hurt. "Is he gonna be all right, physically?" "Yeah, he'll bounce back." Then the doctor looked at me, real serious. "But he's withdrawn. Quiet." That didn't come from just the sun. I turned to look through the window. Eli was lying in the bed, fur taped to his arm, eyes open but not focused. He wasn't crying, wasn't asking for anything, just staring. Later, when they let me sit beside him, I brought his favorite Gatorade and a sandwich from the vending machine. He didn't touch either. "Hey, buddy," I said gently. "You want me to turn on a movie?" He shook his head. "You hungry? I can get something else." Another tiny shake. He still hadn't said a full sentence since the call. I stayed by his side that night. Nurses came and went. He barely moved. I watched him the way you watch a fire that won't quite light. Every twitch in his face. Every time he blinked too slow, it hit me like a gut punch. Next morning, when they discharged him, he walked like he was trying not to exist, shoulders hunched, footsteps silent, like noise might bring trouble. I opened the truck door for him. He slid in without a word. I drove us home in silence, hand tight on the wheel. He stared out the window the whole time, face blank. She'd done this. She didn't just leave him out there. She broke something in him, and I didn't know how to fix it yet, but I damn sure was going to try. I pulled into the driveway and cut the engine. Eli didn't move. "You want to go in first?" I asked quietly. He didn't look at me, just opened the door, stepped out, and walked inside like a shadow. No shoes off, no glance back, no words. Just disappeared up the stairs. I stood in the kitchen for a while after that, staring at nothing, heart pounding like the drive was still happening. It wasn't until the fridge kicked on that I snapped out of it and followed him. His door was shut, but not locked. I knocked once slow. "You need anything?" "No." I waited, listening. Nothing but the creak of the floor when he turned over in bed. "All right." I went back downstairs and grabbed a beer from the fridge. I didn't even want it, just needed something cold in my hand. I sat down at the kitchen table, that one sentence looping in my head like it had been burned into my skull. She said I'm not her real kid. At first, I thought it was just her being cruel, some twisted punishment. She'd said nasty things before, about me, about our families. But that was surgical, cold, and weirdly specific. I took a long drink and stared at the wall. Why say that? Why say it unless? I shoved the thought down. Nah, that was crazy. She would have told me. I was there the day he was born. I held him, signed the damn birth certificate. He had my name, didn't he? I stood up so fast the chair scraped loud across the floor. I wasn't thinking straight, just walked upstairs, into the bathroom he used, opened the drawer, pulled out his toothbrush. There were hairs in the bristles, some gunk near the base. I wrapped it in a paper towel and stuffed it in a sandwich bag. Then I went to his pillow, lifted it up, peeled off a few hairs stuck to the fabric. Bagged those too. I told myself it was just to shut the thought down, just to kill the paranoia. It wasn't. I knew it the second I sealed that envelope and paid extra for rush processing. I sat on the edge of my bed that night holding the receipt, feeling like a traitor. I wanted to believe it was just stress, that I was spiraling, making things up to cope. But deep down, some part of me had already decided. And that part was dead calm. Not angry, not scared, just waiting. The next morning, I checked on him before work. He was awake, sitting up in bed, holding the stuffed tiger he used to carry everywhere when he was little. His eyes flicked toward me, then back down. Still no words. "You want pancakes later?" He shrugged. "All right," I said. "We'll do pancakes." I didn't ask about what she'd said. I couldn't. Not yet. The test would be back in a few days. Until then, I had to act like nothing was broken, even if it already was. After I dropped Eli off at school the next day, first time he'd agreed to go back, I pulled the storage bin down from the garage shelf. The box was full of divorce leftovers, stuff we never sorted, old bills, expired credit cards, charger cords for phones we didn't even own anymore. And at the bottom, under a stack of manila folders and a moldy Valentine's card, was her old phone. She hadn't asked for it when she left, claimed she'd lost it, bought a new one 2 days after court finalized the papers. I charged it up and waited. Still had juice. Lock screen came up, but I knew her PIN, same one she used for everything. Birthday of some actress she was obsessed with back in college. Phone opened right up. First thing I checked was messages. Nothing interesting. All wiped. Then the apps. A couple games. Calendar. Some old photo backups. Basic stuff. But near the bottom of the screen, tucked between the flashlight app and an expired grocery list, there was one I didn't recognize. Icon just looked like a blue folder. Generic. Hidden in plain sight. I tapped it. It opened without a password. Messages. Thousands. And not to me. The name at the top. J. Work. Bullshit. I scrolled to the top. Years of conversation. Years. The first one was dated back to when Eli was still in diapers. "Tell her you're at the office again." Winky face. "Don't forget the champagne this time, LOL. I booked the suite for Friday night. Same hotel." I kept reading. My hands were cold. My chest felt hollow, like air was rushing out of me with every word. They joked about me, my job, my schedule, my cooking, the gifts I gave her for anniversaries. She'd show him pictures, mock me behind my back like I was the town idiot. One message stopped me cold. "When he's gone, it's just us and our son." I read it twice, 3 times. Our, not my. I felt the weight of that word hit me in the chest like a lead pipe. So it was real. It wasn't just her being cruel to Eli. She'd meant it. She'd said what she said because she believed it. And that meant she'd lied for over a decade. Let me raise a kid that wasn't mine and never once told the truth. Let me love him, protect him, bleed for him, all while smirking with this other man behind my back. Every girl's weekend, a lie. Every time she said she was working late, another lie. All those moments she came home smiling, phone on silent, tossing me a kiss like it meant something, they made sense now. Ugly, twisted sense. I stared at the screen and scrolled down further. Pictures now. Hotel beds, selfies in robes. Even one of her in our backyard, beer in one hand, phone up, grinning. Eli's tricycle in the background. She'd done it right here, under my nose, in my own house. I slammed the phone down on the counter and grabbed the edge of the sink. My arms were shaking. I thought I might throw up, but I didn't. I just stood there. Because what else do you do when your whole life rewrites itself in 5 minutes? This wasn't just infidelity. This was theft. She stole a family, lied through a smile for over 10 years, and let me believe the dream was real. And worst of all, she'd tossed Eli aside like garbage the second it got inconvenient. I picked the phone back up and took pictures of everything. Every text, every date, every hotel check-in, every damn smile. If she wanted to play dirty, fine, but I wasn't rolling over. I was done being the fool. The next morning, the envelope was waiting in the mailbox. No logo, just my name printed clean across the front. I stood there for a second, holding it like it might burn me. I didn't open it right away. I walked back inside, tossed my keys on the table, and stared at the envelope like it might open itself. Then I sat down. Same kitchen chair I'd always used. Same spot where I used to eat breakfast with Eli sitting across from me, swinging his legs, asking dumb questions about cartoons. I ran my finger under the flap and pulled the papers out. It didn't take long to find the line that mattered. Probability of paternity, 0%. That was it. Black and white. I didn't cry, didn't yell, didn't even breathe for a full minute. Just sat there with the paper in my hand, my thumb pressed into the corner hard enough to crease it. Nothing. Then the numb cracked and the heat rolled in. Not loud rage. Not the kind you throw plates over. Quiet. Focused. Like a storm with the power out. I folded the results slowly, like I was packaging a bomb. Slid them back in the envelope. Tucked it into the drawer by the fridge. She'd known. She'd always known. I looked out the window. Sun was just starting to dip behind the trees. Eli was at a friend's for the night, one of the few he still talked to. I picked up my phone and sent the text. You free tonight? Need to talk. It's important. 3 dots popped up almost instantly. Sure. Want me to swing by? Yeah. 8. I cleaned the kitchen, wiped down the table, took out the trash. Not because it needed it, just needed to move. Needed to burn the edge off. At 7:45, I took her old phone out of the safe and laid it on the table next to the envelope. 2 loaded weapons. No need to yell when you've got proof. At 8 on the dot, I heard her car pull up. She knocked once, then let herself in. Hey, she said casually, like nothing had happened. You said it was important? She was wearing that same fake friendly look she used in court. Soft voice, light makeup, like she was still playing Mom of the Year. I didn't answer, just nodded toward the table. She looked down at the envelope, then the phone, then back at me. Her smile twitched. What's this? I didn't say a word. She reached for the envelope first, slid the papers out. Her eyes moved fast at first, then slower. Her face went pale. She set the paper down like it weighed 100 pounds. Okay, I can explain. I pushed the phone toward her. Screen lit up. The app was open, right on the message. When he's gone, it's just us and our son. She stared at it, then sat down, hands shaking slightly. Her lips parted like she wanted to start some big monologue, but nothing came out. I stayed quiet, just looked at her. She shifted in the chair. I didn't plan for it to go like this. I was young. I was scared. You were never supposed to find out. Still, I didn't speak. Finally, she reached across the table like she might touch my arm. I felt trapped, okay? I didn't know what to do. He wasn't supposed to mean anything. I stood up. Her hand stopped midair. I didn't come here to argue, I said. I came to show you what I know. Then I walked out of the kitchen, left her sitting there with the truth spread wide open. Let her feel the silence for once. She sat there in my kitchen, shoulders drawn up like a kid caught stealing. I didn't move, didn't speak, just watched her try to squirm her way out of the truth. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said finally, voice shaky. It was one mistake, and then it just snowballed. I didn't know how to undo it. I kept still, arms crossed, face blank. I was young. You were always working. I felt alone, and he was just there. It wasn't about love, it wasn't about him. I slid the phone closer, screen still on, app open, threads of messages laid out like spilled guts. Hotel dates. Laughing at my expense. That line that wouldn't leave my brain. Our son. She went quiet. Her eyes locked on the messages. She scrolled slowly, then faster, then stopped. I deleted all of this, she whispered. How do you even? I backed it up, I said, before you ever noticed the app. She looked up at me. Her face twisted. Fear, maybe, or shame. Hard to tell. Look, I know what this looks like, but it was different back then. I didn't even know for sure. You knew? I snapped, voice cutting across the room like glass. Don't sit there and act like this was confusion. You lied every day for over 10 years. I was scared, okay? She snapped back. I was scared of losing everything. I didn't want him to grow up without a father. You mean you didn't want him to grow up without me footing the bills? She flinched. You could have told me, I said, quieter now. You could have said something when he was a baby, when we were splitting, when you left him in the woods like a damn stray. But no, you waited. You smiled in my face while you fed me crap. Her eyes were full now, not sobbing, just wet, shiny, desperate. You don't understand what it's like to live in that kind of fear. Fear of what? Being a decent human? Telling the truth? She shook her head, eyes wild. It wasn't just about me. It was about him. I didn't want him to know. I thought if I kept the lie going long enough, maybe it would become true. That's not how this works. She was breathing hard now. What are you going to do with this? You going to show it to him? Ruin him? Is that what you want? I stood up, walked to the counter, picked up my phone, and pulled up the drive folder. I already forwarded everything, I said flat. To your parents, to his wife, and to Child Protective Services. Her mouth dropped open. What? I made backups too, in case you get smart and try to play victim. You bastard, she started, standing up. No, I cut in. You don't get to flip this. Not after what you did. You abandoned him out there. You left a child, your child, alone in the woods with nothing. You should be in jail. She blinked fast, voice trembling now. Please, please, don't do this. We can fix it. He doesn't need to know. You already broke it. Her knees buckled, and she dropped back into the chair, one hand over her mouth, the other gripping the edge of the table like it might save her. I leaned forward, elbows on the table. You think this is about revenge? It's not. It's about him. I'm not letting you near him again. Not until the law decides what kind of mother leaves her son to die, because she's tired of lying. She sobbed once. Loud, messy. I didn't flinch. You're serious? She whispered. Dead. She wiped her face with both hands. You've just ruined my life. No, you did. She looked up at me, eyes hollow. What do I do now? You leave, and you wait. That's all you've got left. I picked up the envelope and slid it back into the drawer without looking at it. She stood, wobbled, didn't even try to argue anymore. Then she walked out the door, didn't say goodbye, didn't look back. And the house, for the first time in years, went completely still. She came back 2 days later. I was on the porch, drinking coffee, watching Eli shoot hoops in the driveway. He still didn't say much, but he was outside again. That was something. Her car pulled up slow. She didn't get out right away, just sat there, gripping the steering wheel like it owed her something. When she finally opened the door, she looked wrecked, like she hadn't slept in days. Can we talk? She said, voice cracking. Eli glanced over. I nodded at him to keep playing. He hesitated, then turned back to the ball. She followed me inside, quiet. I didn't offer her coffee, didn't ask her to sit. Her hands were shaking. Please, she started, voice soft. Don't do this. You don't have to involve CPS. I'll do whatever you want. I'll sign over custody. Just don't let this ruin everything. I didn't flinch. It's already done. She stepped closer. We can fix this. No, you did this, I said, dead calm. You don't get to decide how it ends now. She swallowed hard. He's my son. You sure about that? 'Cause you left him in the middle of nowhere with no food, no water, and no plan. You think saying he's yours still means something? Her voice broke. I messed up. I know, but I didn't mean to hurt him. I didn't know what else to do. You could have told the truth 10 years ago. Tears welled up. You're punishing me. You're just trying to hurt me now. I leaned on the table. No, I'm protecting him. You don't get to spin this into some pity party. She took a shaky breath, then tried to flip it. You think you're going to come out clean in this? You think when the lawyers get involved, they won't tear you apart too? You're going to lose everything. Your house, your job, your kid. I laughed once sharp. You already did. She froze. I stepped closer. You don't get to scare me. You lost the right to threats the second you walked out on him. You didn't just lie. You abandoned your kid. And now you're shocked the world's watching? She started crying for real then. Full breakdown. Hands on her knees, gasping like the room was closing in. I stood there, unmoved. She looked up through the mess. He blocked me. Who? James. The guy. I tried to call, to explain. Nothing. He's gone. He won't talk to me. His wife knows. Good, I said. She sank to the floor. My parents won't return my calls. They forwarded your email to my sister. Everyone's treating me like I'm some monster. I didn't answer. I can't go anywhere without people looking at me. My landlord asked me to leave by the end of the month. Said he doesn't want drama. I'm living out of my car. Still nothing. She finally looked at me, red-eyed, stripped bare. Do you hate me? I let the question hang. Then I said, no, I feel nothing for you at all. That hit harder than yelling ever could. She stood slowly, brushed off her pants like that would fix anything. What now? You disappear? I said. You stay out of his life. Permanently. You'll get the paperwork soon. She looked like she wanted to argue, but she didn't. She just nodded, eyes hollow. Then she left. That was the last time I saw her. After that, the house was quiet. No slammed doors. No fake smiles. No screaming matches behind closed bedroom doors. Just me and Eli. And the silence between us starting to shrink, one word at a time. The first time Eli laughed again, it caught me off guard. We were on the couch, playing some dumb racing game on the Xbox. I was getting smoked, on purpose, but not too obvious. And when my car flew off a cliff and exploded, he let out this short, surprised burst of a laugh. Almost like he forgot not to. I didn't say anything, just smiled and restarted the race. From there, it got easier. bit by bit. He came down for breakfast without me asking, sat at the table, ate toast and eggs, and didn't just push food around the plate. We started watching old cartoons at night, the ones he used to love when he was little. He'd glance at me when something funny happened, like he was checking if it was okay to laugh again. He never asked about his mom, not once, and I didn't offer anything either. All he knew was she was gone, and he was staying here. That was enough for now. One night, I walked past his room and saw him on the floor, building with Legos, humming to himself. Light spilling from his lamp, soft and warm. His door was open. He hadn't left it open in weeks. He caught me standing there. "You want to help?" he asked, holding up a half-built spaceship. "Sure," I said, walking in and sitting down beside him. We built in silence for a while, just the click of bricks and the occasional, "Hand me that piece," or "Wait, that doesn't fit." Half an hour passed like 5 minutes. After he went to bed, I sat on the couch with a beer and stared at the blank TV screen. My body was tired, but something in me felt lighter, like I could finally exhale. I'd spent so long in a fog, first from the lie, then from the fallout. But now that it was just us, things felt clearer. I started really watching him. How he smiled with just one side of his mouth when he concentrated. How he scratched the back of his neck when he was nervous. How he always leaned his head toward me when we sat together, like he needed to feel I was close even if he didn't say it. Every little thing reminded me this was my son, not by blood, but by every scraped knee I'd cleaned, every bedtime story I'd read, every tear I'd wiped away when the world got too loud. He was mine. The DNA didn't change that. Her betrayal didn't change that. And none of the hell we'd crawled through, was his fault. He was just a kid, a good one, stronger than he should have had to be, still standing, still trying, even after everything she did. I didn't say it out loud, not then. But I made a quiet promise to myself sitting there in the dark. Whatever came next, court, questions, rebuilding, I was in it. For him, all the way. I stood in his doorway that night, just watching him sleep. He was curled up under the same old dinosaur blanket he'd had since kindergarten. One arm draped over that worn-out stuffed tiger. Breathing slow, steady, peaceful in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. The light from the hallway hit his face just enough to show the little dimple in his cheek. The one I used to say he got from me, even though now I knew he didn't. Didn't matter. None of it did. The truth came in like a wrecking ball. Years of lies, twisted smiles, stolen time. She built her whole life around secrets, thinking they'd never crack. But they did. And when they did, they didn't just collapse on her. They damn near crushed him. She didn't just cheat on me. She tried to erase both of us the second things got hard. Left him like he was trash. Like he was some mistake she was finally ready to throw away. I used to wonder if I'd ever stop feeling sick about it. If I'd always replay those messages in my head. If that envelope in the drawer would haunt me every time I looked at him. But standing there, looking at his face, the answer was clear. No, she could rot in whatever hole she'd dug herself into. I didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. She made her choice. She lived the lie. She threw the match and walked away when it all caught fire. I was the one left putting it back together. And you know what? I was okay with that. Because what we had now was real, hard-earned, honest. The silence in the house didn't feel empty anymore. It felt clean. He stirred a little in his sleep, rolled over, let out a soft breath. I walked in, pulled the blanket up over his shoulder, and brushed the hair back from his forehead. "He's not mine by blood," I said quietly to no one. "But he's mine, and I'll never let him go." I stood there a little longer, just listening to him breathe. Then I turned off the light and shut the door behind me. Would you have told the boy the truth, or kept it buried? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this hit you, don't forget to like and subscribe.